Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Simply Ree, and today I am going to be trying to recreate some of my favorite travel photos from last year. So I wanted to film this video to celebrate our 1 year of living overseas, and also because I miss traveling so much, and ever since Rona has come along we can't go anywhere and we don't know when we're going to be anywhere ever again. So I just wanted to film this to kind of be a little bit nostalgic and to celebrate the good times that we had this time last year. And also a fun fact for you guys is the day of our 1 year anniversary of living overseas was also the day that we hit 100 subscribers. So I wanted to say a huge thank you to all of you for your love and support, and if you haven't joined the family already, please consider subscribing. Let's get straight into it. So the first picture I wanted to try and recreate was of course us at the airport just as we were saying goodbye to our families. I was literally a wreck obviously because I miss my family so much, like every second of the day, and Glynn was just like, keen to go, see you all later. Of course. I kept putting off leaving them for literally the longest time. It got to the point where once I'd finally said goodbye, we literally had to run to the gate to get our flight and we almost didn't even leave at all. This one I thought was actually going to be the easiest because it's literally us just standing there like, but it was so difficult. We literally had the iPhone and the camera inside our kitchen cupboard trying to get the framing right, and then because I just spent like a good 10 minutes like bawling my eyes out, my smile is this weird mix of like excitement and also crying, so it took me so long to get this right. Overall, I actually think it turned out okay. Obviously we're not in an airport, we're in my kitchen, but I think we got the framing right. It could have been a little bit better in terms of the background, but what are you gonna do? So the next photo I was actually really excited about. It's of me in Munich in front of this huge cathedral that was there in like the town center. Luckily we literally live a few houses down from a church because when you're in England there is one on every single corner, which was super helpful. So luckily we have the church, but finding the right angle and like distance from it was really hard. Not to mention the fact that loads of people were also walking past, and honestly I was too caught up in the fact that I had an ice cream and I wasn't even focusing on the photo. In the end, the first location that we tried to take this didn't work really at all because it was too far away, and also there's like a hedge in front of the church so you couldn't even tell that that's what it was. At the end of this we found the best lighting and the best background on the other side, which is on the main road, so I was just like awkwardly standing there with my ice cream like, oh my god, please let this be over. So we tried to take a few shots from the front of the church and the side of the church, but by the time we went back around to the front of the church, I had already started finishing my ice cream cone, so that was nearly gone, and then obviously we couldn't use those pictures because it's just me holding a cone that's like this big for no reason. We were also really lucky with the weather on all of the days that we were trying to recreate these photos, because the entire time that we were traveling last year, it was actually in the middle of summer and it was really sunny all the time, so we tried our best to recreate that lighting even indoors as well. Which brings me to photo number 3, which was me on the Spanish steps, except this time I'm literally just standing on the steps in the middle of my house. So I'm kind of annoyed at myself with this one because I wish you guys could have seen the setup we had with the camera. The camera was literally hanging off the door handle and then trying to get like the distance of me and the stairs, and then Glynn also trying to take the photo on the iPhone. It was so hard. The camera was literally floating, and honestly in the end I'm not sure how this turned out so well, but it did. So the composition of this photo was actually really easy. It was probably the easiest part because I'm like taking up half of the picture. But then my face, like this, I was doing this weird smile thing that honestly, it took me about 400 tries to even recreate it kind of similarly. And then on top of that, I couldn't stop laughing for a good 5 minutes and Glynn was getting mad at me. So after we took this one, we were like, okay, let's take a break and we'll save the best 2 till last. Okay guys, these last 2 photos, they were probably the hardest out of all of them to get right. The pizza picture is a complete fail. So we used a Pringle can with a stone underneath it to make it lean, and I actually thought with like the right distance this would look really good, but boy was I wrong. We couldn't get the distance right or the perspective, and we tried so many different angles and it just would not cooperate. Also, in my defense, it was really hard to hold that pose because as soon as I got outside, all of these flying ants just started like invading our space, and it was really scary, honestly. So in the end, we did try quite a few perspectives, and Glynn even tried photoshopping a picture of just the can. We got my pose right, and then he just put the can in the picture. I mean, I think the photoshopped one is somewhat acceptable, but the others are just not, so that was definitely the hardest one to do. So I did try and redeem myself with the next one, which is my personal favorite, I think. Maybe. Yeah, it's up there, I think. That one and the ice cream one. Anyway, the Stonehenge picture. As you can see, Glynn built me a lovely Stonehenge from the bricks that were just laying around our garden. So we already pretty much had the best part of the picture with the Stonehenge in the background. So because of that, I thought this was going to go really smoothly. So the setting it up and the perspective and the framing and everything, that was really easy. But getting my face right was literally the hardest thing. It sucked. It was like I'd only pulled that face one time in my entire life and I could never recreate it ever again. So the day that I took this picture, it was so windy and so cold, so I'm doing this weird like squinty like half smile thing. Anyway, me trying to recreate that was so funny, but also it just turned out really tragic. So because my face would not cooperate, this literally took ages. But we got the shot, guys. It's okay. Obviously it doesn't pass with Stonehenge, but it'll do. I actually really love this photo and the likeness that the bricks have to Stonehenge. It makes me laugh every single time that I look at it. So I think this one probably turned out the best, and I think we got like the most creative with this because we got to use the bricks in our garden. I do think obviously the Pisa one is like a wreck, but look, it'll do. Obviously no one's gonna believe that I was in Pisa, but it's absolutely fine. There were so many other pictures I could have done, so if you would like to see part 2, let me know. But anyway guys, that is it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. It was so much fun to do, and I think it's also good to just kind of let your creative side out every now and then too. I really hope you enjoyed the final product as much as I did, and please, if you're super bored one day, just try this. It was so super fun, and also it really lets you let out your creative side as well. I posted my favorite recreation on my Instagram account, so please go and check that out if you haven't already. And once again, before I go, thank you so much for 100 subs. It means a lot to me, and I'll see you guys next week.